What's good? It's your friendly neighborhood manga feed, plethora of manga. And today we're talking about anime villains that had the early 2000s in a chokehold. You already know they dominated that era. Not evil just for the sake of evil. These are villains you loved to hate. Characters that changed the way antagonists were written and shaped an entire era of anime. This list goes from 5 to 1. Let's get into it. The early 2000s was the turning point. Villains stopped being loud monsters and started becoming psychological, ideological, strategic, and downright terrifying. Every character on this list didn't just oppose the hero, they defined the story. At number 5, we got Maximilian Pegasus from Yu-Gi-Oh! Maximilian Pegasus, creator of Duel Monsters, and the first major antagonist of Yu-Gi-Oh! Without Pegasus, there's no Duelist Kingdom, and Yugi never even starts his journey. While there are differences in the manga, I grew up on the anime. Pegasus' motivation is heartbreak. After losing Cecilia, the love of his life, he travels the world seeking a way to see her again. That journey leads him to Egypt, where he survives the brutal trial of the Millennium Eye, losing his eye in the process. That moment changes everything. Pegasus becomes obsessed with shadow games, ancient powers, and bending reality itself. This obsession eventually leads to Duel Monsters, Industrial Illusions, and the Duelist Kingdom tournament, all designed to lure Yugi for his Millennium Puzzle. His personality and traits: he's polite, dramatic, cartoonishly theatrical, but absolutely ruthless. Pegasus smiles while stealing souls. The motivations and character change. His goal was never domination, it was reunion. But grief twisted him into someone willing to sacrifice anyone to get what he wanted. After his defeat, Pegasus becomes something rare, a villain who lets go. The legacy and impact. I mean, who didn't hate hearing Yugi Boy?
I knew you
Pause.
would, Yugi
I
boy.
always
Yugi
hated this
boy.
guy
Yugi
for that. He introduced kids to mind games, psychological horror, and the idea that villains could win without punching anyone. Early 2000s Yu-Gi-Oh starts with him. And we gotta get to the number 4. Quick little tidbit. I am not acting like there aren't other great villains. This is just for the early 2000s. You already know. Number 4, we got Crocodile from One Piece. Sir Crocodile, aka Mr. Zero, leader of Baroque Works, and the first truly unbeatable One Piece villain. This was the moment One Piece grew up. Once a dreamer who wanted to be Pirate King, Crocodile was broken by Whitebeard. Instead of chasing freedom, he chose control. He orchestrated a civil war, a false rebellion, and nearly conquered Alabasta without anyone knowing he was involved. Some personality and traits. He's calm, calculated, ruthless, and never emotional until his final fight with Luffy. Crocodile didn't scream, he managed. Motivations and character change. His motivation was power through preparation. Every loss taught him something, And by impelled down and marine forward, Crocodile evolves into a villain who understands alliances, but never submission. His legacy and impact. Crocodile is when villains stopped being boss fights and became systems. This arc proved One Piece could handle political manipulation, war crimes, and moral gray zones. Crocodile to this day is still some people's favorite villain in One Piece. Another great fight in One Piece, mind you. At number 3, we got Cell from Dragon Ball Z. Cell, the biological apex of Dr. Giro's obsession. Not a conqueror, not a tyrant, a countdown. Cell's entire existence is about perfection, absorbing cities, hunting androids, manipulating Saiyan pride. Every step forward made the world feel more doomed. His personality and traits: calculated in his first form, arrogant in his perfect form, sadistic when challenged, and brash and abrasive, and impulsive in his second form. Cell knew he'd win. He just wanted to enjoy it. Motivation to character change. Once perfect, Cell no longer chased survival. He chased validation. The Cell games turned fear into spectacle, forcing Gohan to become what Goku always knew he was. His legacy and impact. Cell marked the shift from raw power to existential dread. He's escalation incarnate. The moment Dragon Ball villains became terrifying again. Like, telling you, at number 2, we got Orochimaru, the giant snake. Orochimaru, the nightmare hiding in the shadows of Naruto. This man rewrote shonen villain rules. His background is story: a prodigy, a war hero, a student of Hiruzen, or third Hokage. But loss, curiosity, and obsession pushed Orochimaru beyond morality, human experimentation, immortality research, cursed seals, no redemption arc, no tragic excuse. Personality and traits: this guy's twisted, charismatic, cold, and he has a god complex. If you're near Orochimaru, you're a resource, and he's gonna use you, I promise. Motivations and character change. His goal never really changed. Knowledge and immortality was always the plan. What changed was his role, from monster, manipulator, observer of fate. Reason why I say observer of fate, because in the fourth Great Shinobi World War, he wants to see what Sasuke is going to do. His legacy and impact. Orochimaru introduced body horror. This guy stays throwing up. It is the most disgusting thing. I promise you, I hate Orochimaru for that. He stays body switching, moral corruption, fear that never leaves. Naruto without Orochimaru loses half of his tension. I promise you. Now, for number 1, Sosuke Aizen from Bleach. Aizen Sosuke, the man who didn't just outplay the cast, he outplayed the audience. Don't tell me those aren't some bars right there. A genius ahead of everyone, a scientist beyond Urahara, a manipulator who used Kyoka Suigetsu to control perception itself. From the very beginning, everything was part of the plan. His personality and traits: calm, brilliant, arrogant, and absolute control. Aizen never raised his voice. He didn't need to. Motivations and character change. Eisen sought transcendence, to surpass gods, to rewrite reality, to stand alone at the top. Ironically, his defeat came from his subconscious desire to be understood. If you ask me, that's weak sauce, but whatever. His legacy and impact. Eisen is the blueprint. Early 2000s villain philosophy at its peak. And nobody is ever going to forget when Eisen stopped Bunkai Ichigo's sword with one finger. And this is before Madara dog walked the Shinobi Alliance. This is what people would refer to in the early 2000s. If you want to talk about aura farming, line stepping, Eisen is the culprit. The early 2000s villain philosophy at its peak. Mind over muscle, control over chaos, patience over rage. He had anime fans in a chokehold for years. Like I said, this guy took off the glasses. You're like, who is this guy? He's like, y'all didn't even know who the real me was. You're just finding out now? Man, Eisen was that dude at that time. These villains didn't just define stories. They defined an era. If you grew up watching anime in the early 2000s, these characters shape how you understand antagonists till this day. If you're vibing with the tribe, like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one, my G.